Welcome to the best gambling show on the internet. This is the home of the money pick. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. 3 and 2 on week 7 money picks. And Patreon users, I'm absolutely ashamed by my groveling. I had winners and I second guessed myself last minute. It will not happen again. I'm especially ashamed about it because of how monster our week 6 is. Let's get this money. Let's get to the first game. And we got my Minnesota Vikings at the Los Angeles Rams. Vikings -3. Money. Borderline. Listen, I tread lightly on Thursday night. It takes a lot of gumption for me to bet a primetime game, but I'm going Vikings to win in the cover. And honestly, we have to tip the fedora to what the Detroit Lions did. Jared Goff, there was a time in that game where he was 15 of 15, and this Vikings defense just didn't have an answer for the power run game. Do I think the Rams offensive line is getting healthier? Yes. Was I impressed by that Rams performance against the Raiders? Absolutely not. I just don't think the Rams are the team that can put the vice grip on the Vikings defense. To do that, you have to run the ball, and I just don't know how physical they are. And let's get to the other side. We got a Rams linebacking core that is absolutely embarrassing, and I think the Vikings, if they get Hawkinson back this week, can really exploit that area of the field. We saw Jefferson go off. We saw Addison go off, and we also saw Sunshine Sam Darnold play well. And I'm not saying I like him better than Stafford in this matchup. Stafford is putting on masterclass after masterclass, but I just feel like it's not the Rams this year. I know we're getting ready. I know we're getting ready to fade the Vikings, but it's just not worth doing. It's not worth forcing at this moment. Give me the Vikings -3. Make it a money pick. This has been fluctuating the whole day. 1 minute it's at 3.5. 1 minute it's at 3. Obviously, you want to get it at 3. Next game, we got the Tennessee Titans at the Detroit Lions. Titans +11. In Dan Campbell, we trust. If there's ever a man I trust laying 11, whatever your fundamentals are, throw that paper on the ground and stomp all over it. I'm going Lions here to win in the cover. And are we going to get Mason Rudolph? I don't know. Are we going to get Will Levis? I hope not. But either way, I just don't think Tennessee's protecting well enough. And I do think I was right about Aiden Hutchinson being out for the Lions. I think that is a huge player to be missing. But this defense and teams just play with a certain amount of attitude that you can't quantify. And I'm not sure these Titans receivers are going to get space, because how much time is Rudolph going to have to throw? And if they throw Will Levis out there again, you know you're going to get turnovers. And what do the Lions do? They put up points off turnovers. Another interesting matchup this game. We've been hyping up the Titans defense this whole year, and I think it's well-founded. Look at Josh Allen's first half. That's not an easy man to stop. But when it's 3 and out, Mason Rudolph fumbling, at a certain point, any good defense will. And I think the Lions outlast them in this ball game. Give me the Lions with the 11. Next game, we got the Arizona Cardinals at the Miami Dolphins. Fins -3. Money. Borderline. I get it. It's painful to have to do this, and I don't want you following me here. If you need to fade me. But if Tua's coming back, I think it will be a little bit of a rejuvenation for this Dolphins offense. And everyone was trying to talk me off that Colts money pick last week. And I get it. We trust Mike McDaniel, but he is on tilt. But there has to be a response here. And Tua coming back, do I agree with it? Not really. do I think the season's lost? No, I'm not going to go panic button, but they obviously need to beat the Zona Cardinals. Now, Zona was extremely impressive on Monday night defensively against the Chargers, and I want to give their offense respect. Kyler made the big play, and that changed the landscape of the game, but I'm still not seeing enough pocket presence. I'm not seeing good routes. Look at his connection with Harrison, and I think you're eventually going to have to make plays in the pocket, and just dice rolling for Kyler Murray to go God mode with a scramble isn't something I want to rely on. 1 o'clock, Miami. We know that's a serious home field advantage. Give me the Dolphins to win in the cover with the -3. Make it a money pick, but borderline. You got to tiptoe on eggshells when you attack this. Next game, we got the Baltimore Ravens, Lamar, at the Cleveland Browns. Browns plus 9.5. Well, that certainly was a parlay bet buster last night. That performance from the Ravens was about as good as you can get, going down 10-0. I got the Browns to cover, Ravens to win. There isn't a lot of science. You do wonder, has this Browns defense lost a little bit of fight? We saw some big runs from the Cincinnati Bengals offense, but I do think if Jameis Winston gets this start, I think it's a good spot for the Browns. And I know everyone's been taking flack, like other channels as well. Luckily, I didn't tell anyone to bet the Browns, but be very cautious with this Browns team. And I don't want to bet last year or bet previous years, but with this Browns offensive line getting healthy and with a functioning quarterback that isn't Deshaun Watson, you have to think the Browns offense will move it a little bit better. If we see DTR, I'm going against that. I'm going big against that. Give me the Browns plus 9.5. Not a lot of science. Next game, we got the Green Bay Packers at the Jacksonville Jags. Packers minus 4.5. Packers, but begrudgingly. I mean, how can you back them after those turnovers against the Texans? You hold Stroud, to like 75, 85 yards passing, and you need a last-minute field goal to win the game. Luckily, the Texans covered for me. But I'm looking at this Jags secondary, and I still think they're vulnerable, and I still think this team is just completely on tilt. Patterson keeps his job one more week, but it's easy to see a bounce-back performance coming from Love. What does Love love to do? He likes to play like an early 90s quarterback, and I honestly respect it. He likes to stay in the pocket, and he likes to heave it deep. We saw, just look at the film of the last 7 minutes against the Colts. This Jags secondary cannot cover the deep ball. Drake May was not able to exploit that. Jordan Love will be able to do it. I like the Packers with laying 4.5. I know going to Duval is it's tough, man. It's tough with the heat. The fans aren't the best. They're not going to be all that motivated, but this is an Alamo game for the Jags. That's why I'm not betting it. Give me the Packers minus 4.5. Next game, we got the Buffalo Bills at the Seattle Seahawks. Bills minus 3. Money. Credit to the Seahawks. They were impressive against the Atlanta Falcons, but they did almost give up 200 yards rushing in a game that was completely negative game flow from the Atlanta Falcons. The secondary stepped up, and they should be getting guys like Reek Woolen back. But if you look at the Bills, man, I think the Bills with Amari Cooper, it's a different entity. I was saying going into the year, one reason why I was low on the Bills, I was worried about Matt Milano being out. I was worried about this defensive tackle rotation. But the most thing I was worried about was the wide receiver position. You need a dog in this league, and Amari Cooper still is a dog. I think Josh Allen will make more big plays than Geno Smith. Another thing, Atlanta got a lot of pressure on Geno Smith, And we know that's not a great defensive line, especially when it comes to rushing the passer. I just wonder, can the Seahawks offensive line stand up against the Bills defensive line that is overperforming the metrics? Like, look at you got Rousseau, but even Espinosa's playing brilliant. Give me the Bills -3, make it a damn money pick. Next game, we got the Indianapolis Colts at the Houston Texans. Colts +6. Colts to cover, Texans to win. I'm going to have to punt on this one, fellas. I'm worried about the communication on this Texans offensive line. Like, it's easy to get into Stroud, and it's easy to give this offensive line credit because they are running the ball. And Joe Mixon, he looks the best he's ever looked. Remember when they said you can't give running back second contracts? King Henry and Mixon are telling you to shove it. And the Colts obviously can't stop the run, and this Texans defense looked brilliant. Actually, I'm talking myself into it. Texans winning the cover. I'm not sold on this Colts defense. I know their secondary's overperforming, but how can you judge Snoop Huntley and Tim Boyle? I do think the Texans running game is the difference here. I get the fundamentals, say division game. You got Steichen. Steichen's one of the best coaches in this league. D'Amico did make a mistake in the first half in the Texans-Packers game, but I'll give him a pass. Give me the Texans to win in the cover. Next game, we got the Atlanta Falcons at the Tampa Bay Bucs. Falcons -2.5. Falcons winning the cover. Try not to react to stimuli. They damn near ran it for 200 yards. They got down early. They made a ton of mistakes. Kirk turned the ball over 2 or 3 times. But we need to talk about what happened to the Bucs. When you lose Mike Evans, I doubt he's going to play. If they put him out there, they're risking their whole season and putting their whole season in jeopardy. And what happened to Chris Godwin was absolutely disgusting. I'm not getting on Bowles. I feel like this is Bowles' best coaching job by leaps and miles. And I told everyone going into that Bucs game, Lamar Jackson is playing the best football of his career. The record isn't what it was, but last night he put in an absolutely magisterial performance. But I like the Falcons here. I feel like they're the better team. And one big thing about the Bucs, they got away from the run game last night. Now you can focus on Bucky Irvin. I didn't feel like he got enough touches. And then without these 2 thoroughbreds on the outside, this Atlanta defense can't stop anyone. But there is a certain point, like Baker's going to try to go God mode. And you saw what that led to, a lot of interceptions. Next game, we got the New York Jets at the New England Patriots. Jets -7. I got the Jets to win in the cover. There's no science. I'm so disgusted with this Jets team. They were up 15-6, had the ball driving for more points before the first half, and Rodgers threw a bad pass, let's be honest. And I still felt in good position when it bounced off Garrett Wilson's chest. But I do think this Patriots team is all-time bad, and I have the under 4.5 on Patreon, and I feel good about it. It's because this Patriots offensive line can't block. Have I seen some inspiration from Drake May? Yes. Do I like what he's doing? I do. But he's in such a tough environment. It's the worst environment in football. This reminds me of one of the years Fields had with the Bears. They only had one good offensive lineman. He gets hurt first week of the year, and then he's just thrown to the wolves. And there's just not a lot there in the Patriots cupboard, and they're not playing good on defense. One thing the Jets have shown us is that Breece Hall is amazing, and they can make big chunk plays. You worry about the Jets' health. That's why you can't bet it. I mean, every single time you blink, you see a Jets defensive back getting hurt, and the Jermaine Johnson injury is hurting. Imagine him and Will McDonald coming off the edge. That would be absolutely fire. It is feeling like a lost season for the Jets, and I have to accept that. Next game, we got the New Orleans Saints at The Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers -7. Chargers -7 winning the cover. I'm liking the Chargers. And you worry about their receiving position, but you got a Saints defense that's absolutely banged up. They're absolutely demoralized. And the Saints offensive line issues are coming to a head. They're getting injured. McCoy's going to miss another game, I believe. And there's just not enough oomph and push in that interior. What did Kamara have rushing yards wise? Did he have 8? Did he have 10? And eventually the Saints need to look for a rebuild. And instead of rebuilding, they're signing Marquez Valdez-Scantling. And you just wonder where the offense is going to come from. How is Rattler going to recover from what Sean Payton and Vance Joseph did to him? Give me the Chargers to win in the cover. The Chargers run game will get alive again. And I think you can run it against the Saints. And the last 2 weeks prove that. Next game, we got the Chicago Bears, the Bears, at the Washington No Names +2.5. No names to win in the cover. But I have a feeling Jaden Daniels is going to play. I do. And I don't want to react to too much stimuli because the Panthers, I told you guys, that's an all-time bad defense. That's why they were on the Tuesday video. And I get the Bears are coming off a bye week. The Bears are coming off an inspiring performance from Caleb Williams. But one thing I'm liking from the Washington Commanders is the defense is starting to play better. They're swarming, they're attacking, and they were able to deal with Chuba Hubbard, which a lot of teams just weren't able to do with. Now, why was Canales throwing it every first down the first half? I don't know. I honestly don't get it. But I like the Commanders in this game, and if you get Marcus Mariota, it is what it is. I still think the Commanders can do it, especially because they're underdogs in the game. I do think we're going to see Jaden Daniels. I really do. Give me the no names +2.5 winning the cover. Next game, we got the Kansas City Chiefs at the Las Vegas Raiders. Raiders +10. Money, borderline. This is the definition of borderline. Give me the Raiders to cover, Chiefs to win. Do I think some of the criticism of Mahomes is unfounded? Yes, I do, because no one's understanding what's going on with this receiving position. These guys just aren't really good, and I do think Travis Kelce is on a downward spiral. But I do think this Raiders defense will play with fight, and these games are always closer than you think. I don't trust the Chiefs when they're laying points against a low-tier team. You will see Andy Reid save things in the bag and live to fight another week when they will play a better team. The Chiefs' schedule is not easy this year, and this AFC West, you have the Chargers competing with them, and look at how the Broncos are playing on defense. There isn't a lot of science. I think the Raiders are able to keep it close. I told you guys, going into that Steelers game, I do not feel comfortable with Aiden O'Connell. I feel like it's addition by subtraction. Now, if we get Desmond Ridder, because we just signed him, I'm off of that. Do not do that. But Minshew, we know he's frustrating. We know he's bad, but he can at least make a few plays. Jacoby Myers should be back in the fold, and I think it'll help. Give me the Raiders to cover, borderline money pick. You feel dirty doing this, but this week 8 is very, very dirty. Lots of injuries. Next game, we got the Carolina Panthers at the Denver Broncos. Panthers +9. I got the Panthers to cover, Broncos to win, but this is all contingent on the Panthers getting defensive players healthy. And I think they have 7 guys who are potential starters. Although they've had so many guys injured, it's tough to know who's starting anymore. I think if they get those 7 defensive starters, those 7 defensive players back, I feel like they can compete. And also, I don't want to overreact to the Broncos offense. It is low energy. and they did play the Saints. The Saints are a team that is in complete disarray. And I get Mile High, the way the Panthers are playing, they're so damn bad. But if Andy Dalton starts, I like their chances. I don't think they'll go back to Bryce Young. I don't think we'll be seeing Thielen this week. Hopefully Deontay is healthy on the other side, so this makes a little bit more sense. Give me the Panthers +9 to cover. Broncos to win. I just feel like the Broncos don't have enough firepower. Surtain will be back at corner, and we know he's going to shut people down. Next game, we got the Dallas Cowboys at the San Francisco 49ers. Cowboys +5. Give me the Cowboys to cover. 49ers to win. Listen, you worry about the Micah Parsons injury. But you worry about Ayuk being out for the season. Jawan Jennings didn't play against the Chiefs. And Deebo Samuel is in a hospital bed with ammonia, which is that actually like legit worried me, guys. Like the Godwin injury worried me. What we saw on Monday night, but seeing Deebo go down that way was odd, man. And I do think there's going to be some sort of response from the Cowboys. Jerry Jones put the chips in the middle of the table. I'm not saying the Cowboys are going to win the game, but if there's ever a time for the Cowboys to play good against the 49ers, I think this is the time. Like, I know that 49ers defense stifled Mahomes, but I think that's more Chiefs receiving core. And you do wonder, if the Chiefs are able to run it, can the Cowboys get the run game going? I know Zeke's not playing at a high level anymore. That was a bonehead scratch. But I'm going Cowboys to cover, 49ers to win. This is an Alamo game for both teams. I know it sounds like a bad game now, but this game should be very intense. I have no intention of betting this, by the way. Next game, we got the New York Giants at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Giants +6.5. Money, money, money. Giants to cover, Steelers to win. Yeah, Russell Wilson, he did look good against the Jets, but we have to keep in mind what happened that game. The turnover battle was absolutely horrendous, and the Jets had about 4 injuries on defense just in one game. And it was absolutely dreadful from the Jets, but credit to the Steelers for forcing turnovers. And everyone was on the Giants last week, and I was trying to provide caution and a little bit of insight. And I do think the Giants are undervalued in the market, and I think this defense will stop the Steelers' run game, and I want to see Russell America Wilson do it again. And I know this Giants secondary has weaknesses, and we saw Freiermuth and Pickens play their best game of the year. But I do think there'll be a little bit of drop-off from the Steelers, and I'm still questioning that decision. Obviously, it looks bad right now, and you do wonder, when do we see Drew Lock for the Giants? If Drew Lock is in, I'm snapping this in. And I wonder about Daboll, because we were talking all week. The man is a very, very good coach. We know he's going up against a very good coach and Mike Tomlin. But Daboll is going to lose his job because of this affliction with Daniel Jones. At what point does Drew Lock get to spin it? At what point? Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. The best gambling show on the internet. Oh, yeah, Eagles and Bengals. How can I forget? Bengals -2.5. I got the Bengals to win in the cover. I got the Bengals to win in the cover here. And this is one I was stewing about because I'm higher on the Eagles than other people. But I feel like the way to attack the Eagles is you have to work the ball down the field. You have to work that safety position. We're starting to see strides from the Bengals. We're starting to see more pop plays. And I feel like they finally found an answer with Chase Brown. And I think that's the difference in this game. And I do think this is a little bit of a letdown spot for the Eagles. But I did tell you guys, Sirianni obviously won back that locker room with that meltdown. The effort against the Giants was physical, was ruthless, and it was the best their defense played. I know it's against Daniel Jones, But man, I like I like the Bengals in this spot. Think they have the bigger chunk plays. And I just wonder, how is Daboll going to create any sort? I mean, how is Sirianni going to deal with Jalen Hurts and his turnover issues? Give me the Bengals. They got the better quarterback. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. The best gambling show on the internet. Slam that like button. You guys were great last week.